Welcome back to Single Player Party. As you can tell, I look the same. So I am going to try to get into Dragonholt Village. So spoiler warning, we are on episode 3 for me. Book 2 of Legacy of Dragonholt. So there's tons of spoilers. I think I have everything I need here. We got out the village book, the village tracking sheet. We've got our story tracker, 2 characters, couple items with us. This book is a beefy boy. It has got a binding to it. The other ones are all like just stapled back. This one is a thick boy. So this is a lot. So I might be stopping at any given point. And then we'll pick up from there, or I might just pause this and then it'll be mostly seamless. So it looks like we spend a week here. There's day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll see what kind of trouble we get into over the course of a week. So I double checked with the rules. Nobody on my team should have been disabled. That's if you run out of stamina. So there was very little cheating involved with that. As far as the taking the turns thing, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. The exhaustion might matter more going forward now with the healing potions, right? Because now it's like, oh, can I pass one off to somebody else because oh, it might be exhausted from it. Let me pull that up real quick. Of course, I put the rule book away, and then it's like, oh yeah, well no, guess what? Now you need it. So think about that. What are those things called? Activation tokens, yeah. So when you make a decision, exhaust your activation token, turning it face down. You cannot make another decision until your activation token is refreshed. When all players have exhausted their activation tokens, all players refresh their activation token. So the actual thing about that is that my characters actually could do 2 in a row, because if they're doing, I was playing it even harder. I was going back and forth. There'll be plenty of times where either can act. Basically every other time, either of them can act. Okay, I will do this. Because I think this actually benefits me. It's better than one than the other, because every other time, they're both gonna one of them's gonna refresh. So like, let's say, okay, he goes, then they go. Now they both refresh. Now either could go. So they could go back to back many times. I like this better. Okay, we're back to not cheating. I wasn't cheating. I was making it harder for myself. Stop judging me. Just enjoy the ride. Thanks for watching, by the way. Okay, so we were instructed to read 1001, so here we are. Each quest book, including the village book, has its own tracking sheet that can be found on the back cover of the book. While reading from this book, time and progress are tracked on the corresponding tracking sheet for the book. Let me just make sure that looks like the right one. There we go. Perfect. Encounters. The entries in this book are grouped in a number of encounters. Each encounter is a short collection of related entries. Once you begin an encounter, continue reading as normal until the encounter is complete. While reading this book, you do not exhaust your activation token when you make a decision, and requirements on options can be fulfilled by any of you. Well, that's cool. I have a feeling we're going to dip into this, then we might be dipping into another book, and then, so maybe we'll hit another book sooner, and then it might have like a natural breaking point. So you wake to the smell of freshly baked bread and the chipper voices of Miriam and Sapphire. Golden shafts of sunlight stream through the window beside your bed, and you idle for a moment before getting up, watching the dust float in the air in the morning light. With a yawn and a stretch, you rise from your bed and prepare yourself for the day. As you step out of your room, you see that Braxton has also just stepped into the corridor. She gives you a polite smile and nod. Morning. You are just about to respond when Miriam comes around the corner from the direction of the common room. Good, you're awake. Breakfast is ready. It's a real feast, exclaims Miriam eagerly. Come on, I'll get you cold It'll get cold if you just dawdle in the hall. With that, Miriam takes Braxton's hand and drags her. Well, Braxton allows herself to be dragged toward the common room. 10:42. So, for the sake of this, I'm gonna go back. I had put away like that 2 new roads sheet, but it was pretty good for keeping track of the numbers. Because here's the thing, it's like, how am I gonna know where I left off? I wonder if there's supposed to be 2 sheets. Like, I'm not keeping track of time on this one, like up here, but so I am going to go and write this down. So 10:42. That way, if I end up on some long train, I can just look on here and I don't have to start at this one and then backtrack and try to. But honestly, it should be like, I guess I could write it on the back of this. Let's do that. I like the little lines on that one though. So we're at 1001. So now we will go 10:42. Let's do it that way. Oh, how convenient, it's right there. You descend the stairs to the sunken common room. Sapphire is setting a table with plates. Miriam ushers Braxton to the table and they both sit. You take a seat and examine the feast that Sapphire has prepared. Large yellow eggs, thick slices of brown toast, juicy ham steaks, and seasoned pan-fried potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em. Boil 'em, mash 'em. As you are scooping food onto your plate, Sapphire returns with 2 large pitchers, one filled with creamy milk and the other with freshly squeezed juice. After checking on the other patrons, Sapphire returns and sits at the table with you. So what brings you to Dragonholt? Have you come in search of love? Or, Sapphire gasps and glances around before leaning in close, are you here for revenge? Braxton coughs and strikes her chest with her fist, having choked on a bit of potato, and Miriam begins laughing. The love of theatrics runs in the family, I see, mutters Braxton after a drink of milk. Sapphire blushes lightly and looks back at you. Forgive me, perhaps I gossip with the neighbors a bit too much. Visiting an old friend, just looking for the next adventure, hoping to gain gainful employment. If I'm lucky, not the only one searching for love. I seek revenge on the man who killed my father. Deception or performance. If I'm lucky, I'm not the only one looking for love. That requires empathy. Empathy. Is Bash okay? Let's say Bash is here looking for love, but he's kind of more like on his next thing. So there's an achievement. There's an achievement list in here, and I put that away too. I'm not bringing it back out. There's an achievement list where, so like if you fall in love, you can check off that achievement. And this goes back to what I was saying at the end of the last one. If you wouldn't stick around for that, I just went on a long diatribe on how I want to get through things and want to play maybe on easy mode. It's not about easy mode. It's about being able to complete quests and not get stuck on hard parts or get too distracted by side quests and actually see what stuff's involved in. Here I don't think like side quests so much as there's still main storyline, but I do want to play my characters faithfully. This is going to be the one thing that's going to be the truest to mine. And if he's stoic and tough, he's not out there, he's not here looking for love. He's looking for a home. So him and Lenatra got their letter from their traveling friend. And so they're here visiting a friend. So even though that unlocks something, I'm gonna go with that. So 40 26. Because the letter's important. The letter we got. So we're gonna go for that. Cracking. The binding is cracking. hear all the resale value going out the door. But that's a joke after she saw what I did to the first book after like having it for months in my backpack. It is trashed. Okay. Oh, who's your friend? Asked Sapphire. I know most everyone in the village. You mentioned that Sleece has sent for you to come to Dragonholt. Oh, you mentioned this. Sleece says, yeah. Ah, yes, exclaimed Sapphire. Sleece did tell me she used to do some adventuring before she became a tutor to Lady Regina's kids. She comes to the Swan for lunch from time to time, though I can't say I've seen her lately. Last would have been, 2 or 3 days ago. I saw her going into the Chatty Archer, a lovely little tavern run by a nice human couple. Sapphire suddenly tilts her head as if she's thought of something. She looked quite frazzled, actually. She had her cloak drawn all about her. I almost didn't recognize her. I don't think I've seen her like that before. Come to think of it, it's the first time I've seen her go near either of the taverns in the village. If she's not at the manor, you might try the library. She spends much of her time there. The bells for the front door jingle, signaling someone entering the inn. Sapphire stands. Excuse me, she says, and hurries off to welcome the new patron. Read entry 2994. After breakfast, you return to your room to grab what you'll need before venturing into the village for the day. When you return to the common room, you see that Braxton is also about to set out. Many of the patrons have dispersed since breakfast, but a few remain in the common room, reading and mingling with one another. Miriam is nowhere to be seen. If you have any questions about Dragonholt, don't hesitate to ask me, says Sapphire. Where has Miriam gone off to? Asked Braxton. Oh, that child couldn't wait any longer and ran off to see the old apothecary's shop. Sapphire shakes her head. Even if she buys it, it'll be some time before it's up and running. Nasty fire it was. Lorimore fire is nothing to take lightly. If you discovered the hidden message in the letter from Sleece, go to this one. Otherwise, we did. We cheated. I think I cheated. I can't remember. I can't really remember what it said either. It was just warning that all these letters were off and how there was danger in the village. So let's go to 15. Maybe this will remind me. So 15, 18. You suddenly recall the hidden message that you discovered in Sleece's letter. Unsure of the urgency Sleece intended, you figure it best to make your way to meet her before too much longer. You ask Sapphire for directions to Regina's manor. Sapphire's face shifts to match your own more serious mood. Of course, the manor is just north of here. If you walk around to the north side of the block and look north, you can't miss it. Big fancy building on the hill. Sapphire tilts her head slightly. Is everything all right, dear? You can tell that she is truly concerned, but you also get the sense that she's hoping for some juicy gossip. You assure her that everything is fine. Mark story point Y5. And then we're going to read from 5302. Oh, rules. Cool. Thank you for your hospitality, Sapphire, says Braxton as she opens the door to leave. Of course, hon, replies Sapphire. Good luck with the guards. Braxton smiles and nods before leaving. You are about to leave yourself when Sapphire stops you. Oh, I almost forgot. If you're going around Dragonholt without a map, you might get lost. It's a small village, but some of the hallways are a real labyrinth. She produces a folded piece of parchment and lays it out on the counter. Let's see, she mutters and scans the map. Ah, here we are. She marks the spot on the map, the Swan. She spends a moment marking numerous locations for convenience. Here you are. Don't lose it now, she says as she folds up the map and hands it to you. If you have any other questions about Dragonholt, come back and ask me. You gain the map of Dragonholt. This encounter is complete. So, bum 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 bum, map of Dragonholt. We gained it. Okay, we can't get it all on camera, but most of it. Oh, the Swan. Okay, there's the Swan. Fairfax Manor. The library she might go to. Oh, the shrine with the glass dome they talked about on the way in. The apothecary shop. That sounds like that's where Miriam's gonna buy that. And then, oh, the dragon statues that we came in on. Through. Okay, so we came in through there. We got Willow Grove down here. And then the Eastern Road. The Northern Road. An orchard. Drunken Hog. Okay, cool. So we have this handy. Let's read what it says about what to do with it. After completing an encounter, use the map of Dragonholt to choose a new location to visit. Each location has a 4-digit number that corresponds to an entry in the book. When you choose that location, read the corresponding entry in this book. If playing with 2 or more players, you will each take turns choosing locations to visit. When you choose a location to visit, exhaust your activation token. You become the active player and remain the active player until the encounter is complete. You should make decisions within the entire group, but as the active player, you have the final say on those decisions. Gathering information. During your time in Dragonholt, you may wish to gather information about the village or county or the events that happen within. Returning to the Swan to speak with Sapphire or visiting the village hall are great ways to gather such information. In addition, you might try visiting the local taverns in search of rumors. Days. The encounters in this book take place over multiple days as tracked on the tracking sheet on the back cover of this book. At the end of each day, an effect on the tracking sheet will instruct you to read a specific entry that bridges the gap between the day that just ended and the next day in the story. The events that occur at each location might change from day to day, and the specific events might occur on specific days. However, some locations will have the same or similar events on multiple days. You cannot gain the benefits of any single entry more than once each day. Wow, this is fascinating. So this book is literally keeping track of like where some people are moving and how things might change. So if we go spend a whole day here and like let's say something happens at the Drunken Hog during that day, we may have missed it because it won't happen. I mean, it happens on Monday or day 1 or whatever it had in that book. That is really cool. Now I'm feeling overwhelmed by like the side quest and like wanting to know it all, and it's like, okay, well, what happens? What am I missing? And that kind of scares me. Sorry, I gotta fix my chair. That really kind of like irks me of like the, oh my gosh, well, what is it? FOMO. Like my FOMO, it's got my FOMO kicking in. Oh, good. There. It's like a mini earthquake. Okay, so we're gonna go to Fairfax Manor. So that's 1400. So this is the end of the counter. End of encounter. So we'll go to 1400. And hopefully it'll tell me if it's like, oh, you're now on day 1. Maybe we should go look for it at the library. I don't know. 1400, Fairfax Manor. The house's sprawling structure of gray stone, its facade covered with dark green ivy. The east wing of the manor is older than the rest, its tall, narrow windows doubling as arrow slits, and its roof marked by crenellations. I'm guessing that's like ramparts, kind of thing. Crenellations. I don't know that. An arching stair leads to the main door on the ground floor. If 4 or less time have passed today. 4 or less time have passed today. So it's the morning. Okay, so it's the morning. Read the entry below that corresponds to the current day. Otherwise, the manor house is not accepting visitors at this time. Okay, so we can go down below. So 14101 Fairfax Manor, day 1. 1401, sorry. You step into the grand hall of the manor, which is lit only by the sun shining through the high windows. A human serving girl sits at a long table polishing silver. If story point V6 is marked, but I6 is not. Oh, what a nice combination. You can do like both. That's cool. So we don't have a V6 or an I6. If neither story point... So if V6 is marked but I6 is not, read that. If neither story point S8 nor V6 is marked, read that. Wow. So do we have S8? We do not have S8. Wow. Otherwise, the manor house is not accepting visitors at this time. The encounter is complete. Wow. We just got shut out. Alright. Cool. I kind of like it. Back to the map. So, I say our only other lead was the library for her, or what did she say she was going to? The Chatty Archer. So I say we go to the library looking for her first, because the Chatty Archer was not today, was it? I don't think so. Okay, so you just seen a hard cut, and I apologize. So I spun my wheels. I'm re-uploading. I'm splicing in here. This is future Derek. I messed up part of Dragonholt. I was so tired when I worked on the village. You'll see me splice in where I left off on one of the ones. I went and read a bunch of these, which you're not going to see anymore. So I didn't get any spoilers. I had to backtrack like something that I did at a shrine. Not going to be a really big deal, but turns out I should have gone over to this one up here at the library. I read it wrong. Apologize to the 30 or so of you who watched the original. This is now me not... You won't have to see me putz around the city of Dragonholt as much. So I don't know what it looked like where I left off from there, but it's now several months later, and I finally can get around to some gaming again. Yay! I am like the least consistent gamer in the world, but you know, we all do what we can. I appreciate you being here to watch the video. So we're gonna move around and do the things here, and the great thing is whatever I had read before, I kind of forgot it all anyways. So I did catch up to that point to see where I broke off. I was trying to catch up, you know, for the playthrough. I was like, oh, I really messed that up. So I believe that we're gonna go dive in. We're back in. So you should be caught up with wherever I'm at. I am not. So I'm not going to do a bunch of catch up. We're diving right in here. You should be caught up. So I went to the library at 2480. And let's see here. Let's go to 2480. These books are so cool. It's really interesting people's feedback on, like, you know, a lot of people love this. So if you're watching this, I'm sure you love it. I've just been really wanting to do some D&D stuff that's just, you know, without a DM, because I just can't get together with a group. So, oh, and this spine is still breaking really badly. So, it is what it is. I do not know why I have something on my screen. Okay, so this is the library. I think I'm going to jump in before I read the library, so I haven't read it yet. The library is large for a village of the size of Dragonholt. It features an antechamber, a main room with rows of bookshelves, and a few side rooms. On most days, one of the side rooms is used as a classroom for the village youths. The two youths. This makes me think of like Skyrim vibes. I picture like walking into a library in Skyrim. just as like a visual, giving me some visual. So if 4 or less time has passed, I go to 2505, and so I do that. So it's the next one. The library's main hall features a tall writing desk underneath a window set in the ceiling, and 4 walls covered in shelves full of books. Perched atop a stool at the writing desk is a gray-robed, gray-haired human woman splattered with ink, her quill stritching as she carefully copies out another letter. So now here's my options. If it is day 1 and story point V6 is not marked, this is where I messed up. It is day 1 and story point V6 is not marked. I did the otherwise of the 2798, where I really need to go to 7529. So I'm going to make a note of that right now because I even copied the wrong one here. My computer fan is really loud, so I don't know if you can hear that, but it, you know, it kind of, my computer came kind of defective where like a fan wire just makes a bunch of noise all the time. Really, it's annoying. All right, so let's go to 7529. This is all new to me now, so this is super exciting. Seven nine. Sorry, 7529. Got to get the numbers right. And the good thing is the ones like, there's not a lot of ones where you can like juxtapose the numbers, which is really interesting. I wonder if they used a little algorithm for this. So 75. Oh great, this book completely came off of the binding. Just so you know, this thing is really heavy, and you've got to manhandle it a lot. This is my first. I bought this brand new. This is my first playthrough, so you know I know a lot of people care about quality out there. So this is something to keep in mind with this game. Maybe buy it secondhand if it's already gonna get, you know, break on you. Unless you want to be the one to break it. I fully back that. All right, so 7529. After a moment, she places her pen aside and picks up a sander made of silver chased horn, sprinkling a fine dust of powdered resin to dry her ink. Then she turns to you. "Welcome to the Dragonholt Library," she says. "Can I help you?" Her question trails off as she takes a look at you for the first time. She takes in your appearance and mannerisms with a critical eye for a moment before asking you your name. You tell her, and she blows out a breath she may not have realized she was holding. "Come this way." She dismounts her stool and leads you through a low door to a tall, narrow room lit only by windows far above you. "No candles or torches, please," she says. "A fire here would mean centuries of wisdom lost." She leads you around a long bookshelf, and you find that the room was not narrow at all, only blocked off by the enormous shelf. Celise, we found her! Celise is resting comfortably in a chair with a book on her lap. "Celise," says the librarian, "I've brought company." "Thank the spirits you're here," says Celise, springing to her feet and narrowly rescuing the book before it falls onto the floor. "Thank you," she says to the librarian, who nods and shuffles away, leaving you alone with Celise. This is so much better. We couldn't find her. I couldn't find her. I ran all around town. I'm like looking for Celise, and I'm like, I must have did something wrong. And I did. And you know, maybe if you play with people, you would catch it. So now I'm going down this trail. So now it says to go to 5682. I'm not a super big note taker in the real world, but it seems to be paying off here. So 5682. Just so happy to be playing right now. "5682. I'm glad you came," says Celise. "There is trouble afoot, and I'm getting too old for trouble." Celeste doesn't look a day older than when you met her. But then again, she is an elf. I believe there's actually a typo. It's not my mispronunciation or poor reading this time. There's actually a typo. I believe that someone is plotting against the noble family here. You might already know that the local lord is Lady Regina Fairfax, Countess of Dragonholt. She had, up until recently, 3 children, Sonia, Rochelle, and Philip. Regina is sick. She seems a little young to me to be dying already, but humans will do that on you, I suppose. So her daughter Sonia was poised to inherit the county. But Sonia came to me and said she had received a letter from her uncle Carrick, Regina's brother. Carrick demanded that Sonia renounce her position and support Carrick's claim to Regina's seat. Sonia refused him, of course. Days later, continues Celeste, Sonia fell from her horse, struck her head on a rock, and died. Now, not suspicious on its own perhaps, but Sonia was an excellent rider. She was alone in the forest when it happened. I became concerned that Carrick had murdered her. I shared my suspicion with Timothai. Tymothi. Tymothi. Ooh, I like the way that sounds. I'm going to go with Tymothi. Well, you know what I want to do, too? This might be weird in the middle of this. But, I want to see if I can flip the way I look. See if I can do a 180. No, I don't want to rotate. I want to flip me this way. Oh, that looks so weird for me. Oh, that's interesting. Look at me dancing around. Oh my gosh, and it captures like a completely different part of like over here. Interesting. Now you can see my setup. My terrible, terrible setup. Oh, poof, it's gone, right? Wrong. It's still there. I know you can see it. Oh, there's a fire hazard. Awesome. Just gonna knock the fire hazard out of the way. Yeah. But now it looks like I'm at least looking down at what I'm reading. I like this. I'm gonna stick with it. Okay. So how would you pronounce that? Tymothi. I'm gonna go with Tymothi. Sounds fantasy-ish. It's probably just Timothy. I know. My dad's name is Timothy. But it's like... it's not spelled Timothy. Let's go with the cool pronunciation. Tymothi. Regina's steward said that night as I returned to my bedroom, a heavy statue in the gallery toppled over and nearly killed me. Celeste closed her eyes and leans back, resting her head. So I fled. I'd already sent the letter to you, so I hid in the village waiting. She's not doing a very good job hiding. Alright, now we're going to mark V6. Now when we come here, now we don't get that answer again. Cool. Celeste stands, brushing down her cloak and taking a deep breath. But nothing unusual has happened since then, and Philip and Rochelle remain safe. It would seem the situation is not as dire as I suspected. For now, I think it wise for you to acquaint yourself with the villagers and gain their trust. We will need them on our side if it comes to a struggle for leadership. But right now, I will go straight to Lady Regina and tell her everything. Will you come with me? Okay, so of course, Celeste, let's go now. Or go on your own. I have other business to attend to. So, I don't know what kind of, I don't know. My personality is like, I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to go. So we're going to go, jump this right down here. Keep this going. So it tells us, I mean, The whole reason we came here was to help her. Why wouldn't we go with her? Hey, believe me, maybe the next playthrough, it's like, oh, I've got other business. I've already seen how this plays out. But honestly, I don't really see myself going super gnarly on here. So 5, 4, 5, 5. You go with Celeste to Fairfax Manor, where a middle-aged human woman in servant's livery opens the door for you with an expression of surprise. I must speak with the Countess at once, Mathilda, says Celeste. Mathilda, yeah, only nods and ushers you upstairs, where Regina's audience chamber lies, in the manor's ancient round tower. The Countess's normal black throne is empty, but the Countess is seated on a carpet by the hearth. She is a human woman of middling years, with fair skin and enormous green eyes, almost luminescent, in a face more lined by pain than by age. The Countess has a round hoop in her lap, a piece of intricate needlework. My lady, says Celeste. Celeste, says Regina. I had wondered if you had quit my service. Please introduce us. Celeste bows and introduces you. Regina inclines her head to makes no effort to rise. What brings you to me today, my friend? With many pauses to word her story as diplomatically as possible, Celeste shares the same suspicions with Regina that she had shared with you. As she speaks, a rail-thin man in a ruffled tunic slips into the room to stand silently by Regina's side. Yes, says Regina at length. Timothy told me much of this the day you disappeared. Was it Timothy? She offers one hand to the man in a ruffled shirt, who helps her to her feet with perfect form. My lady, I was not sure what to make of Miss Celeste's suspicions, but I reported them dutifully. Okay, so already I think this guy did it. I think this guy is the agent of the uncle or the Regina's brother, who's trying to do stuff like, I mean, probably obvious to everybody, but I was just saying, I'm making a note of it here now on camera. Regina crosses her throne and sits with a sigh. She gestures to Timothy. Now it's just Timothy. I can't keep it up. And points to a writing desk against the wall. Timothy, the book in the drawer, there. He goes and fetches a slim leather-bound volume. This is Sonia's journal. I have not read it. There are things that a mother should not know about her daughter, I think. But you must do, my friends. I do not want to believe that my brother would stoop to so reprehensible a crime as kinslaying. But I will not risk my children on my hope that Kyrick is still the honorable man who stood aside for me when our father named me heir over him. She presses the book into your hand. You gain Sonia's journal. Mark story point P8. Do P8 first. This is the stuff I tend to forget. P8. So this is P8 and Sonia's journal. Now, I didn't have the box ready because I didn't think I'd be getting so much stuff out. Fortunately, I didn't put it completely away, so. Man, that first book really got beat up too. I think I put everything away that I wouldn't maybe need, so that means it's got to be out here amongst the other items. Okay, that's my packet. Ah, Sonia's journal. Got it. So this is the letter. We've already used that. And then this is the other things we can gain. So now I've got to figure out a place to put this. It's not going to crash. It's going to crash. Okay. That is what we call set aside for now. Sonia's journal. So please read it. Perhaps it contains some clues as to Sonia's fate, and perhaps you might prevent Rochelle and Philip from falling prey to similar doom. She waved a hand, and Timothy rushes forward to shepherd her from the room. Her ladyship tries easily. Oh, sorry. Her ladyship tires easily these days, he says. Thank you. We will speak again. Celeste frowns as she walks you to the door. So Timothy isn't the traitor after all. I think he is, though, because here's the thing, and I want to say this. A lot of people, oh, the statue almost fell on me. Oh, the statue is falling. Ah, oh, I missed. But somebody tried to kill me. That's what I'm thinking. So, yeah. So, or perhaps he's covering. Okay, I speak too quickly on this stuff. Or perhaps there is no traitor, just rotten luck. She shakes her head and opens the door. Read that book and make it a point to get to know the locals. I will call upon you again when you are needed. Okay, time passes. This encounter is complete. So we're going to do time passes. So now it's the afternoon. Okay, and this encounter is complete. So, oh, I need to get rid of this. This is the spiritual meditation I gained. But, I mean, I could probably go over there now. It looks like I've got, like, a free time. So, this looks like a lot. And if I'm looking for, like, secret stuff in here, oh boy, there's a lot. So, maybe I'll do a side thing of reading her journal, I guess. I don't know. Or we'll just tack it on here. Okay, so let's start reading Sonia's journal. We're here. Let's go. Sunday, planting, 1851, scratched out, or 1850, scratched out 1851. She didn't remember what year it was. So, maybe one Sunday, one planting is the first day of the year. You know how you forget the new, because do you plant in spring or in the middle of, like, when winter's ending and it's beginning of the year? Fairfax Manor. So it is New Year's Day. Aha, that's why people always forget what to write the correct year, so they scratch it out. Okay, so Sunday, one planting, 1851, Fairfax Manor. Celeste gave me this book for New Year's Day and suggested that a young lady of my station should keep a journal. It seems unlikely that anyone will want to read my thoughts in days to come, but I suppose we'll give it a try. Here we are reading it. So a new year has begun. A new year is given to you. What will you do with it? Who said that to me? One of our priests at that school mother sent me to in Highcrest, I think. So what will I do with it? There's a checklist here. Get mother to let Rochelle take a knighthood. A new mill. Settle the Long Creek dispute with the Belmonts. I think it's time to breed Appledash. I know there's catfolk in the forest. I'm going to find them. Read at least 13 new books. Celeste will insist. Find a cure for mother's illness. Oh, that's sad. Very ambitious. She sounds like she's already taking over, like, a lot of the leadership duties. Sky Day 5 planting, 1851. Tree of Tales. I saw a catfolk woman in a red tunic run away from me. I don't want to scare them away entirely, so I didn't chase her for long. I've come to the tree to pray. I've received a letter today from the physician in Greyhaven. He had nothing useful to say about mother's illness. Mother insists that all will be well, of course, and that when her time comes, she will die just as everyone else must. But she has barely 50 years. She's too young, and I am not ready to be countess. So, remember we found something in the tree. We found that wooden trinket, right? We found an intricate wooden trinket at the Great Oak in Everdale Forest. It's quite old. A heart carved into the wood containing the letters T and U. T. Timothy. Okay. Rune Day, 21 planting, 1851 Fairfax Manor. I am considering dangling Timothy out a window by his toes. If only he lived in a proper we lived in a proper castle with tall tower to do it from. The man spent nearly a candle harassing me about taking a husband, and what if I, a proper wife, Timothy, and what if I prefer a wife? Oh, what if I prefer a wife, Timothy? Did you consider that, I wonder? And producing an heir? I half wonder if he wanted the job himself. He's not wrong, of course, which is why I am so angry with him. How dare he tell me true things I do not want to hear? That does not read like somebody. Maybe somebody who's really